So this is Dani Johnson, and if you were on Facebook earlier today, sorry, you saw me like a babbling mess. I was here in my hotel room crying, telling you what I was getting ready to do, and I'm going to spend some time with you tonight. I'm talking about how do you go from unqualified to qualified. And I have like 6 or 7 points that I want to give you right here, right now. Why? I am stuck in a city because I canceled my flight, and I really don't want to do email right now. That's why. I'd rather talk to you. So I especially wanted to talk to you if you had seen the video that was done earlier this morning, because there were many of you that really blessed me with your responses and your encouragement. And it was really, really helpful. But one thing I'll say right now, for those of you that have family members or you have coworkers that you are working with, even a sales organization that you're a part of or working with, you might want to share this right now, because this is definitely going to give some really important instructions on how to go from literally a pit to the palace, and how to go from, just a complete mess in every area of your life to having crazy success. So if you weren't here this morning, I'm going to kind of bring you up to speed of what this morning's video was about. Why was I a mess? Well, I've been flown to a city here in the United States, and I can't tell you what city it is, and I can't tell you what it's actually for. Meaning, okay, so I had a major television interview with a major network on a major show. And this is not the first time. I mean, friend, think about this. This is not the first time. I've done hundreds and hundreds of television interviews and radio interviews and print interviews, like, magazine interviews, Forbes magazine, things of that nature. I've done hundreds of these. But this morning it hit me because I don't watch television, so I don't know who famous people are, if you will. When I was interviewed on the Oprah Winfrey show, I had never even seen her show. Do you understand? When I got invited to be on Benny Hinn's show, I didn't even know he had a show. I didn't even know that TBN and their whole network even existed. I got an invitation for Fox and Friends. I had never seen Fox and Friends, didn't even know that program existed. I knew when I got the invitation for CNN and, other ABC News and NBC and all that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously I knew those were news shows and I knew that those existed, but I just want you to know that I don't watch this kind of thing, so I'm just not aware. So anyway, the first time I saw Oprah Winfrey show is the night before. We were stuck actually in the city. There was a major blizzard. And so I thought, man, I probably should see what her set looks like. I should see her interviewing style, things like that. And that's another story, by the way. That really jacked me up doing that. Which maybe one time we can get together and we talk about the Oprah Winfrey interview. Anyway, so last night when I got here, I thought the same thing, like, wow, I probably should see what that set looks like. I should see actually an interview, the kind of interviewing style that the individual does, and see what that, looks like. Well, sure enough, friend, I did, and I just happened to come across some interviews with, people like President Obama and, Hillary Clinton and just, very influential people in the world. Whether we agree with their politics or not is a whole nother story. But, and like, huge celebrities, people from Hollywood, which again, they're just normal people, just like you and me. But at the same time, it just hit me like, I had no idea this individual show was as popular or as big, or that the influence of the person was as large as it was. I just got the alert that my battery's dying. Probably should check that, right? Okay, so bear with me as I, with a single hand, try to get my charger out of this little bag here. Anyway, so there's hundreds of people, I'm sure, that have interviewed the president, and where am I going to plug this in? Oh, sorry, we're walking around together. There we go. I think I can do this, because honestly, I'm in my pajamas and I'm snuggled up on the bed. That was the ceiling, sorry. Okay, moving everything now out of the way. Okay, so Anyway, just so last night I had this crazy revelation, like, oh my gosh, I was a homeless woman, and I was, so messed up, and I, was abusing alcohol, and I was abusing drugs. It seems like yesterday it was happening, but it was 25 years ago. And so honestly, when I saw these interviews that were done, I'm like, I am so not qualified to be here. I am so not qualified to be here. This is crazy. What is going on? And what's so funny is that, okay, I was on The View. The president's been on that show, and, and the Secretary of State, and, all these crazy, hugely famous, very influential people have been on that show too. I'm like, and those people were on Oprah, as I was on Oprah, and all that other stuff, right? So I don't know why that didn't hit me until last night. And I was just completely overwhelmed with this feeling of, I'm so not qualified to be here. And they had me be on as an expert with helping people, find their comeback, and helping people with what their circumstances are and solving problems. And that's kind of how they used me today on this program, was as an expert. First to tell my story, and then second as an expert, which again, I feel so unqualified, friend. So this morning I was having a moment, and I wanted to talk to you and just talk about being unqualified. And so I want to give you some tips on how to go from unqualified to qualified, because it doesn't matter. First of all, let's go with number one. I just wrote down a couple notes here I want to talk to you about. It doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter where you come from. You need to hear me. That part doesn't matter, right? Because I grew up in a violently abusive home. I was molested from the time I was 3 until I was 16. I was grabbed by the throat and shoved up against walls and cussed out with the most filthy, foul, disgusting names. I watched my mother be badly abused. I watched my sisters be badly abused. I mean, we're talking major trauma. So much trauma that both of my sisters ended up on drugs. One of them died at the age of 21 doing a drug run doing a drug run. And my other sister, she's battled with drugs her entire life. And that's honestly where I should have been if my qualifier didn't get a hold of me, which is my God. If my qualifier didn't get a hold of me, I absolutely would have been just like my sisters, either dead at 21 or a drug addict. So, number one, you have to realize that your life, where it is right now, is only temporary. Where that is, you're having great success right now, I promise you, it's only temporary. Or you are in a horrible rut, or things are really, 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 really bad. You have to understand that you're in a qualifying season, whether it's like things are amazing and awesome, or they're really bad. Both of those scenarios are your qualifying season. It's the qualifier for what comes next. So if it's a really bad season, I promise you there's a great lesson, and I promise you that there is something that's going to be refined in you. There is. Something's going to be refined in you through the hardship. And something is going to be exposed in you if you're in a good season. Yes. When you're in a good season, this is usually when pride starts to rise up. At least that's what's happened to me. Pride rises up. You forget where you came from. You forget how you got there. And then you make some really bad decisions. Kind of get caught up like I did. First 10 years of making millions of dollars after being homeless, I spent all the money. I spent it all. We spent it all, my husband and I. And on crazy, stupid things. Houses, cars, entertainment, jewelry. Yeah, jewelry that my original wedding ring is what I wear. But during interviews and on stage, I will wear the newer wedding ring that I got about 10 years ago. exactly 10 years ago. Anyway, I don't want to be rambling. So number one, how do you go from unqualified to qualified? You have to realize that your past has nothing to do with where you're going, but it is part of your story. And so don't be ashamed of your failures. Don't be ashamed of the bad choices that you've made. They were for a reason, and I promise you they're going to be used for your benefit. Come on, here it is. All these years, okay, I've been telling I was homeless and I grew up in this terrible situation with my stepfather and my mom. I've been telling that story for 25 years. My first time on a television interview, gosh, I can't even remember. It's in the early 90s was the first time on a television interview. And then, of course, magazine and newspapers and radio. Yeah, early 90s, meaning shortly after I was homeless and shortly after I started in business. And I still made bad decisions and I still failed even after that. But see, that homeless story, being a homeless woman and becoming a millionaire, and now today a multimillionaire and a best-selling international author, an international speaker, and my whole life is dedicated to helping people like you succeed wildly in the marketplace, helping you define what success is for you, and then teaching you step by step how to build that. What does that look like? Is it a dream of building a charity? I can show you how to do that. I've built one that all through word of mouth has just gone crazy while other charities have gone out of business. Ours has thrived and grown every single year by crazy numbers. Or if your dream is, to get to Hollywood one day, I can show you step by step how to do that. If it is to make millions of dollars, I can show you step by step how to do that. If it's how to raise a family and keeping the priorities straight and to raise amazing kids, I can show you how to do that. If it is you want to build a business, I can show you how to do that. If it is to have a passionate, loving relationship with your spouse, I can show you how to do that. That's what I do, is I teach people everything that has to do with business, whether you're an employee or you are a business owner. I can show you how to succeed in that realm with your finances, paying off all of your debt and having great relationships. I believe you should have it all. I really do. And so my career is dedicated to that. And the thing I can tell you after working with hundreds of thousands of people for the last 2.5 decades is that we all have a past and that it's part of our story. And no matter how ugly it is, it's part of your story. And it's the unique thing about you and all the failures that you've had. Don't be ashamed of them. You need to understand and learn from those situations and realize, wow, maybe one day I'll be telling this story. And this story is going to inspire other people. I never thought in a million years that my story would ever be inspiring anybody. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, never in a million years did I think anyone would be inspired. So number 2 is you have to forgive. I would be dead without the power of forgiveness. And when I talk about forgiveness, I'm talking about like totally, completely releasing somebody, like releasing them, like even saying, I forgive you and I release you. You owe me nothing. So for example, the man that raised me, my stepfather, I found out that he wasn't my dad when I was about 17 and a half and I was pregnant with my first child. That was a massive identity crisis. And especially when I found out who my father was, I was like, what? Okay. My father was from Managua, Nicaragua, like, I grew up with a man who had light green eyes, white skin, and dirty dishwater blonde hair. And then it come to find out that my dad is like, thick, curly hair and dark skin. And I found out how come I had no forehead and why my eyebrows grew until I pull them all out over here, by the way. Just pull those out because my hairline and my eyebrows, they think they are one. Yep, they do. Anyway, why did I go there? I'm tired, obviously. But this is a real conversation, right? Yep, this is how it goes. Okay, so, crap. Poop stain. Forgive. So I had to forgive, and in that forgiveness, it's about releasing them, that they owe you nothing. You see, there's something about resentment and bitterness, and when you store up resentment and bitterness in your heart, you feel like someone owes you something. You feel like they need to pay you back for something that they have to either you kind of want them to like be in pain themselves so they can feel the pain that you've had, or you feel like you want them to somehow take your pain away. They can't take your pain away. You're the only one, listen to me. You're the only one that can take your own pain away. You are it. And how? By forgiveness, by releasing them and saying, you owe me nothing. You owe me nothing. You owe me nothing. I release you. I bless you. I forgive you. Why? Because it's how you set yourself free. It's how you come out of the pain and the suffering and the unforgiveness and the stewing and the getting mad so easy. And by the way, and that's a sign of being filled with bitterness and resentment, is that you fly off the handle really easy and you freak out on little things that you shouldn't be freaking out about, and yet you freak out about them. And it's all because of unforgiveness. And so number one, okay, is that you have to realize that where you're starting from is not where you're going to end, and that it's by design. Number two is you've got to forgive all those people from your past. Listen, I've been embezzled twice. Once by when I first started in business, and I'm building, a company, and man, it's going awesome. And guess what? The guy who was teaching at the seminars that I was learning from, he embezzled my whole business. I'm just some small little, at that point, 21-year-old kid in business. I don't know squat. And he winds up swiping all of my clients and all of my reps that were marketing the product on my behalf. And it was all stolen overnight. And I'm like, he's a multi-millionaire. The guy was worth tens of millions of dollars. What do you want with my little business that I was building? Then I was embezzled by friends. Friends that I started a company for completely embezzled me. But I had to forgive them. I had to release them, my friend, because the more I held on to that, the more angry I got, the more distrustful I got, the more bitter I got, and not towards them, towards myself and towards other people. And then pretty soon when you're harboring that stuff, then you start to hate yourself, and then you don't trust anybody, and then you don't trust yourself. And it's a disaster. You don't want to live like that. And so number two is forgive. And I mean, fully release. You have to. If you want to go from unqualified to qualified, you have to be an avid forgiver. You just have to release people. And you also need to release yourself, okay? Because again, the thoughts of being unqualified, you can stay there forever. You can hold on to your past that tells you you're not qualified for anything. But I can tell you right now, you do have a qualifier. And towards the end of these 6, 7 things I'm going to give you, you're going to find out who your qualifier is. Number 3, you have to move on. You have to move on. Listen to me. Anyone who's ever gone from unqualified to qualified, those people have gone from unqualified to qualified. Those people are people who moved on. They got the heck over it. They no longer dwelled on the past, but they used their past for their benefit and the benefit of others. They used the experience to learn from the experience. Listen to me, friend. I had recently, I'm kind of mentoring a young man. He's a tattoo artist. He's a precious kid. He's going to be at First Steps to Success coming up here in San Antonio this weekend. It's his very first event. He read First Steps to Wealth in just I think it was 4 or 5 days, something like that. He's so hungry, man. And I love it when I encounter someone that just has hunger inside them. They want to make it so very bad, and they're going to eat up everything that is that you give them. And so something that he had read in the book about, 98% of the population dead or dead broke at the age of 65, 2% is different. And he says, Dani, you mentioned something in the book about that the conversations, that 2% of the population have very different conversations, and that people in that 98% have a different kind of conversation. He goes, what does that look like? And I said, guarantee you 2%ers don't sit around going, hey, did you see what's going on with Brad and Angelina? Hey, did you see what, I can't even think of celebrities' names. The girl with the butt that's got $2 million insurance on her butt. Jennifer Lopez. Beautiful woman. Probably has a nice butt. Anyway, so Jennifer Lopez, did you see what she was wearing? Oh gosh, did you hear that so-and-so is sleeping with so-and-so? I said, those kind of conversations, Santana, do not happen. They just don't. They don't. They don't happen with 2%ers. They don't sit around and gossip about people that don't matter in their life. They don't sit around and gossip about the people that they work with. They don't sit around and gossip about their family. I said the conversations with 2%ers is either about their family in a good light, right? Solutions with their family, great memories with their family, how much they love their family, and or what they're doing, where they're going, you know, where they're traveling to, memories that they're building, what they're going to do next, what's the next project they're working on. And if they've got to talk about problems, because everyone has them, everybody has them. And to be honest, you 2%ers have huge, enormous problems to solve, decisions to make. Oh, Lord have mercy. I'm like, I have a list of decisions I have to make right now, especially with TV caca stuff. There's so much going on. I wish I could tell you everything, but I can't. Okay, so, but when it comes to problems, right, it's always talked about from a solution position, okay? Solution. Not talked about from, my arm's getting tired. Not talked about, can you see the air conditioning vent up there? Yep. Hi. Solutions. Talking about solutions, not talking about problems, not dwelling on the problem, not dwelling on the past. That's what I'm saying. You have to move on. You want to become somebody, and you can do this. You want to become somebody. Do you hear me? You can do this. You want to become somebody, hear me, that is looking at the solution, not looking at the problem. You want to become somebody that doesn't dwell on the problem, that doesn't dwell on the past, doesn't dwell on the pain, but somebody who is like, all right, moving on. What's the solution? You want to be a moving on-er. It's not in the dictionary, but that's what you want to be. You want to be a moving on person. You don't want to be the stuck in the mud. Listen, if you're stuck in a rut and life has been pretty much the same, it's because you're dwelling on crap that doesn't matter. So you got to move on. Break free. Don't ask me the question, how do I break free, Dani? Listen, just do it. I already gave it to you. Stop dwelling on the past. Stop digging up the past. Forgive, release, move on. Decide where it is that you want to go. Decide who you want to go with. Decide what you want your life to look like, because, friend, I'm living a life that I did not even know was possible to live. I mean, if somebody would have told me 25 years ago, Dani, they had a crystal ball, or they were one of the prophetic people who most of the time are just pathetic. Oh, Dani, I can see your future. And what I can see is that you're going to have a happy, passionate marriage with an amazing, smart, brilliant man. And you're going to have like 5 kids. I'd be like, what? No way! You're going to have grandkids. No, I don't think so. You're going to be a successful businesswoman. You're going to write best-selling books that are taught in universities in 5 different countries. You're going to grace the stage and speak before thousands and thousands of people. You're going to be on the Oprah Winfrey Show. You're going to be on Fox and Friends. You're going to be on Secret Millionaire. You're going to have your own daily television show. You're going to be on reality television shows. I'm telling you right now, friend, you're going to be used. If somebody with a crystal ball, or even if it was God Almighty himself who came down to tell me that, I would have gone, I think you have the wrong person. I'm sure you meant that person like over there, or that person over there, because I am totally not qualified for everything you just said. That's what I would have said. So, friend, I'm telling you, you got to move on. You got to be somebody that just decides to move on. You got to be somebody that is known for moving on. You don't dwell. You don't stay stuck. You refuse to stay in a rut. You refuse to repeat your past. You refuse to be maybe what your family has been. Unless it's a great family, then you want to be them. You just refuse. You got to be a move on. Move on, move on, move on past the problem. Get to the solution. Find the solution, find the answers, and find the lesson in it, and keep finding and keep moving on. Okay, number four. Yes. You need to know who your qualifier is. I don't know if you serve a God or not. And if you don't, I'd love to introduce you to mine. I don't know who your God is. And I don't know where you found him. Or he found you. I know this, that my God loves unconditionally. My God is faithful. My God is just. Every one of those villains that had stolen from me, betrayed me, slandered my name, even those who slander my name today, even religious, judgmental people, they obviously hate themselves. And all those who have ever spoken against me, tried to hurt me intentionally or even unintentionally, the God I serve, he takes care of business, and he takes care of them. Most, he's taken them out. I'm talking about the big villains who really, really, really did bad things. He's taken them out. I haven't had to. So I don't know what God you serve, but my God, he's a redeemer. He's loving. He's kind. He's compassionate. He loves. He loves. He's for you. He's not against you. He has so much more in store for you than you could even imagine. He will put you in places you did not know were possible for you to go to. He adores you. He adores you. That's my God. My God. If you're willing to humble yourself, if you're willing to move on, if you're willing to forgive, if you're willing not to let your past determine what your future is, if you're willing to believe that everything happened for a reason and it's all by design, and you're willing to be honest with yourself and your failures and your regrets and your mistakes, if you're willing to humble yourself before him, then he's willing to pick you up. You see, he promises that he will exalt the humble and he will tear down the proud. He took a broke, homeless cocktail waitress and put her name before millions and millions of people. He's taken this weak suck of a person who did so many horrible, wicked things that should have unqualified her. But instead, he qualified me. He qualified me in my failures. He qualified me in my pain and my suffering. He qualified me in my mistakes. He qualified me in my weaknesses. You see, you have a qualifier. He's your Father in heaven. He qualifies you. He does. And don't let anyone tell you that he doesn't love you or he's too busy for you. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you are insignificant to him, because it's not true. It's not true. And you know deep in your heart that the truth is that you are significant to him. You matter to him. That he's got a plan and a purpose set out before you. I used to think when I would hear things like that he has a plan for your life. I used to think that he'd put me in a brown robe and make me go sing in Russia or something. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to serve God. Why would I do that? I'll act like those weirdos that, go do that. I don't want that person's life. Oh man, I was so deceived. That is not the life that he had planned for me. And I can honestly say that the plan that he had for me is so much bigger, so much better than anything I could have ever thought or hoped or imagined. Don't let anyone ever tell you that what you've done is too bad and therefore you can never make up for the mistakes that you've made. You're right, you could never make up. Which is why our Father, your Father, my Father, the one that planted you in your mother's womb, the one that planted me in my mother's womb, he knew that we would make mistakes, which is why he sent his perfect son. His perfect son laid down his life as a sin offering for you and me. Yeah. A sin offering for you and me. He laid down his life so that you and me could have freedom right here, right now. That we would be reconciled to our Father who loves us, not like our earthly fathers. Maybe you had a great earthly father. The man that raised me was a terrible example. Yeah, but my Father in heaven, I know he loves, and I know he loves you, and I know that whatever it is that you're dreaming about, I believe he planted that inside of you, and I believe that he planted it because he's going to do it with you, and that which he started in you, he is good and he will finish it. You need to believe that. So, number 5. How do you go from unqualified, like I was, a homeless, broke cocktail waitress, to a multimillionaire who is living this crazy, weird life and giving 100% of the money that I make for my business and 100% of the salary straight to taking care of those who can't take care of themselves, building 1,000 houses. That's what we're doing. We're building 1,000 houses for the extreme poor. How? do you go from unqualified to qualified? I invested into a lot of training, friend. I did. I invested into a lot of training. Financial training, business training, communications training. Even when I got the offer for my first radio show 5 years ago, first thing I did, and this little radio station down in Orlando, Florida, were like, hey, we'll give you a show, we'll do it as often. Like, I never wanted to be a radio show host, no thank you. And, then it just kept coming at me. And so I hired a radio coach. I hired someone to teach me how to communicate on the radio, which then turned into how to communicate on television. I didn't just like wake up one day and know how to do it. Same with business, 27 years ago, invested into training seminars and invested into learning and communication and sales training and all that stuff I invested into, which now I teach, because I learned a lot of things that no one should ever do. There was a lot of manipulation tactics. There was a lot of just bad stuff that the first guy that I learned from, which, by the way, the FDA and the FTC completely shut him down, and he can't do business anymore. So you don't want to learn the stuff that he taught. But nonetheless, I've been teaching hundreds of thousands of people for the last 2.5 decades exactly how I went from homeless to millions, and how we've paid off debt, and how we've learned to work through some really hard stuff in our marriage and with raising kids and stuff like that. And so training is really important. And I invested a lot into myself, and I continue to invest a lot into myself. And again, it's investing into skill, and you need to do that. Don't be afraid of doing that. I know it's weird. I know it's strange to do that, but people go to college, right? They're investing in their future when they go to college. And so that's the same thing, friend, is that you want to be one that's constantly learning, constantly growing, constantly investing into that growth and applying what it is that you're learning. That's why I'm so excited to see those who are coming to San Antonio this coming weekend. I don't know where you're watching this from, but if you're not registered for San Antonio for Steps to Success, you might want to get over to DaniJohnson.com right now and get registered. I know it's been nagging at you. You probably have seen the emails. You've probably seen the posts here on Facebook. You probably have seen all of the countless thousands of testimonials of our clients, like Erin Hudson, who's going to be in San Antonio this weekend, even though she just gave birth a few weeks ago, or baby number 5. They paid off $900,000 worth of debt in 2 years. They just had their first $1 million year for their business. She's a chiropractor, saved her marriage, and only working part-time now, was working 60 to 80 hours a week, and then cut her hours down to 20 to 30 hours a week. Again, she just gave birth to baby number 5. Goes to show you the restored marriage. People like that, people that you will meet like that. And that's what we do. We help you with strategies to help you change your entire life. And so anyway, training is really important. So if you're in debt, you need to learn, you need to get trained on how to get out of debt, stay out of debt, and help to build yourself some wealth. If you are in a marriage that is just like, oh, so hard right now, then listen to me, friend. Then you need training. It just shows you that I need the level of skill that you had before helped you through what you had to go through before. But if you're going through something right now that is just like, it's excruciating, like my husband and I have been through many things, that's when you need to get training. You need to get that outside training to help to develop you to whatever that next level is. If it's the kids are driving you crazy, or something's going wrong with the teenager or the toddler, you need more training. That's it. All of us can learn to do anything, my friend, and you can learn to overcome the things that you're walking through right now. I promise you. So number 5 was training. Okay. Number 6 is don't forget where you've come from. Don't forget where you've come from. As you go through life and as you have success, you're going to find that the hardships have been the greatest teachers for you. And if you try to forget about those, and you try to do what so many people do, and that is to live a lie. They don't want to talk about the things from their past. They don't want to talk about the pain and the suffering, even now, right? So here I just told you, yeah, the first 10 years I made millions of dollars. I freaking lost it all. I spent it all. I was stupid. Okay. Most people don't want to tell you that part. I was all caught up in the glitz and the glamour. I was all caught up in the cars and the jewelry, the 7 carats of diamonds on a ring and flying first class and all this stupid crap. And then today I can tell you honestly, like, oh my gosh, all that did was, it was fun for a minute, just for a minute, but the pressure was daily. Right? The pressure was daily. Yeah, when I first got my wedding ring, this is my original wedding ring, but when I first got the other one, I was like, oh, I feel like such a princess. And it wore off. It freaking wore off. Okay, yeah, it's beautiful. It sits in my safe now. I'd much rather wear this one that has more meaning as the first day that I committed my life to my husband. And I really didn't know what I was doing with that one. So anyway, so really don't forget where you've come from. because it's in the relation to where you were and the hardships and the pain and the suffering. It's that stuff that builds you. That's what you'll find. That is the stuff that absolutely builds you. And if you're in a building season right now because it's like hard, then rejoice, 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 which is my final point, number 7. Rejoice. Yes. Gratitude. How do you go from unqualified to qualified? Gratitude. Number 7, my final point. Why? One of the reasons why I spent a lot of time with the extreme poor in places like Nicaragua, Haiti, India, is because they don't have toilets, and they don't have food, and they don't have homes. They have nothing but scrap metal and scrap wood and mud that they've kind of glued it all together with. And yet their faces have huge smiles. And yet they can rejoice. And yet they have their family. And they have a love for God. And their love for God is not dependent on food. Their love for God is not dependent on clothing. It's not dependent on the size of their house because they don't have one. It's not dependent on the work that they do. Their gratitude is not dependent on things. Their gratitude is not dependent on position. Their gratitude is not dependent on recognition. Their gratitude comes from their heart, and it's real. And one of the reasons why I love to be down in Nicaragua or Haiti or India and Belize is because I learn more from the poor than I do and ever have from any successful person, by far. I've learned that smile that they have on their face is completely genuine. And they have nothing. And yet we live in this crazy culture that's just filled with so much wealth, and everyone complains. No one is satisfied, and everyone's always looking for more. So I need that checkup on me several times a year, because we're a product of our environment, and I can very easily become ungrateful. Whether it's, 5 major decisions that I need to make, or legal contracts that I have to read, or, I don't want to cook dinner tonight. Whatever, I don't know. Whatever it is, laundry, I got to scrub toilets now. I got all this list of things that I need to do, or gosh, I'm getting like 27 questions from the office. They need decisions on this, and that. All of those things can be so overwhelming, and it's so very easy to not be grateful. It's so easy to not be thankful, and especially for the little things. It's in the little things that really, really matter. Okay, so let's go back up. How do you go from unqualified to qualified? 7 quick things. 1, what was number 1? Stop digging in the past. Your past does not determine your future. Number 2, release and forgive those villains in your life. Number 3, you have got to be a moving on person. That's who you got to be. Focus on the solutions and moving yourself forward. Number 4 is know who your qualifier is. God is your qualifier. He is your qualifier. He is for you, not against you. He's going to open doors that no man can shut. He is going to shut doors that no man can open. He's going to make every crooked way straight. He's going to bring great people into your life that are going to help you, that are going to buoy you up. They're going to help to direct you. They are going to be great people for you in your life. And he's also going to allow and maybe even appoint some not so good people. Because why? Because part of the qualification process is making mistakes. Part of the qualification process is failing. Part of the qualification process is rejection. Part of the qualification process is really, really going through some hard crap, which we're all going to go through hard crap no matter what. So you might as well become successful out of the hard crap, right? Okay, so that was number 4, is know who your qualifier is. Number 5 was get trained. Get trained, get trained, get trained. Invest in yourself. Invest into the training, right? My husband and I just came out of a marriage conference. It was absolutely phenomenal. By far the best conference I have ever been to. I'm saying conference period, like the best business or finance or whatever. I learned so much. It was powerful. It was amazing. And I'm excited because I will get the chance to maybe talk to you about it one day. Not yet. I have some things I have to work out, but I'm definitely going to be directing you to where to go for that. Yes, I'm excited about that. Number 6 was do not forget where you come from, because it's in the hardships, yes, where the refining happens. And in those hardships is where the training comes in and you are developed into who you are supposed to be. And then my final point, number 7, was gratitude. You got to be grateful. 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 People who are grateful, I'm going to leave you with this. Complaining does not open the vault to blessing. Nope. But the combination to the lock on the vault to blessing is gratitude. It is. It's gratitude for the tiny little things. The tiny little things. In fact, let's do this right now. I want you to type, because you and I are sitting here together having this conversation. I want you to type right now in the comments. I want you to give me one thing you're grateful for. Do it right now. Type it in. And if you want to give 2, okay? If you want to give it 2, then give me 2. If you want to write 5, then write 5. Okay, come on. And do this every day. Every day. In fact, let's meet for the next 7 days, and you could write down and write right here, whether it's on this post or it's on on our wall right here. I want you to tell us, what are you grateful for? Listen. If you're breathing, you've been given another chance to make wise decisions. If you're breathing, it means you've been given another chance to love by choice to love. Okay? All right. So, okay, some of you guys are writing notes. Okay, okay, my son, Natalie Vasquez says, I'm grateful for my son. Natalie, tell me what you're grateful for about your son. Okay, Tina, what about your life? Tina Lewis says, I'm grateful about my life. What about your life? I want you to get specific. The more specific you get, I want you to write. I really want you to write, because something's passionate is going to happen inside of you. Okay, I'm reading some more. The thing's moving so darn fast. Okay, my kids, my husband, my family. Yes, but Helen Nayland, what about your kids? What about your husband? What about your family? Come on, why are you grateful for them? Don't just give generic terms. Why specifically are you grateful for your husband? I'm going to tell you something I'm super grateful for. My daughter, Christina, okay? You probably don't know the story between her and I, but I was very, very young when I got pregnant with her. And I made a really bad, foolish decision to listen to the wrong people and to be influenced. To be influenced in a really negative way. And I didn't get to have my baby girl for the first 14 years of her life. And this created all kinds of problems in her life, and it created all kinds of problems in mine. And she now lives 3 minutes from me. And that is like the biggest dream come true. It's actually not even a dream I got to dream. I didn't even get to dream. I just never even allowed myself to dream that. I never allowed myself to imagine it, because I just knew it would never ever happen. Well, her and her 6 kids and her husband are 3 minutes away. When she's driving, it takes me 6 minutes to get to her house. So anyway, 3 to 6 minutes away. This morning, I'm getting ready for this crazy, enormous interview that I totally feel unqualified to do, where presidents have graced this stage, and now I'm sitting in the same seat with former presidents or current presidents that have been interviewed by the same person. And I'm feeling completely unqualified. She doesn't know that I'm feeling unqualified, and she sends me this random text. And the random text is this: Mom, I want you to know I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud that you are my mom. And I said a bunch of other stuff, and I just texted her back, and I said, man, I'm in tears. I can't believe that you just texted that. And she's like, why? And I said, well, I'm feeling incredibly unqualified. I said, this individual has interviewed the president before, and cabinet members, and whatever, and super famous people, the most influential people in the world, and I'm just not qualified to be here. And she says, okay, well, the people you just mentioned, she goes, they're a bunch of numbnuts. We're working on her. She goes, what have they done to change people's lives? What have they done to help people? Mom, look, you've helped thousands of people pay off debt. In fact,
Jen texted me this number. I asked, what's the biggest record of a small group of people have given us a testimony? 153 people paid off $20 million, $20.8 million worth of debt in a year and a half. Give me a break. Okay, so has our president helped anyone pay off debt, let alone 170 people pay off 20 million, 20.8, so it was 20,886,499,000. Give me a break. So anyway, my daughter was just so precious in her communication and encouraging me. That's something I'm thankful for, that I have a kid who's come full circle, who at moments hated my guts, that today we have a super close relationship and I cannot imagine my life without her. So that's one thing I'm grateful, and something specific. Okay, so as we're talking about what we're grateful for, I want you to be specific, friend. Be specific. Write as much as you can. Yes, someone says, I'm grateful for Jesus because without him, I am nothing. Yes, you are so right. And me too. That without the Savior, without the Messiah, I am nothing. And why? Well, I know the mistakes I'd make without him. So what about you? Why? Again, let's keep going. Yay, I'm seeing lots of Edgar Lopez. You are so welcome. You are so, so welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Kim McDaniel. Dani. Okay, Stephanie Zegers says, Dani for president. Are you nuts, man? People like me get shot. We actually would get something done. No, I would get shot. Okay, so Helen Nellen, my kids are very compassionate, giving young adults. See, that is amazing. And by the way, that shows that you did something right as a mother. If you raise compassionate children, then that means that you did an awesome job. Okay, Celine, to have you as my mentor. Oh, Celine, I'm so very grateful that you are here and that you are receiving from this. And it's not just me. There's a whole team of us. There really is. There's a whole team of hardworking people at Destiny Global and DaniJohnson.com. They are so committed to you, and they believe in you. It's not just me. It's a whole group of us. So you get a mentor times a bunch of people. Yeah, Keisha Willis, you said the Lord, but I want you to specifically write out, why are you grateful for the Lord? Why? Get specific. Nothing becomes dynamic until it becomes specific. And there's something of gratitude that's inside of your soul. It's like a well, and a well of blessing is going to come out, and a well of faith is going to burst right out of you the more grateful you get. So you can't be generic when you're talking about what you're grateful for. I mean, be very, very, very specific. Okay, so Tyrone says, for my church. Why? Why are you grateful for your church? Tell me about your church. What is it about them that has you so grateful for? What have they helped you through? What have they helped dig you out of? Okay. Renee Storms, I am grateful for Yeshua. That's the name of Jesus, by the way. That's his Hebrew name because he's a Jew. He wasn't an American or a Canadian or a European. He's a Jew with a Jewish name. That's a conversation I'll just get mad about. Okay. The English translators decided to give Jesus an English name. He's not English. Let's see, let me start at the bottom. Hannah Tanis, for a mentor that loved, taught, and cared for me through the darkest times of my marriage. God sent me a raven like he did to Elijah. Yes! See, this is amazing. And so now even just think about that. I want you to write out where was the darkest days of your marriage and what did God heal you from, and the mentors that took you out of it. Okay, so Sarah Conrad says, I'm grateful that my husband will work out with me. Why? Why are you grateful that your husband's going to work out with you? Okay, you got to get to the why. Get to the why. Keep writing. My youngest son so adores me as mom. Oh man, is that just like the best feeling in the world, right? That when your kids love you, there's nothing better. It doesn't matter. And by the way, okay, great. I get to be on the Oprah Winfrey show. Great. Secret Millionaire right now. I'm being approached and considering this reality television show that would be like an interesting proposition for our clients. It will definitely help our clients' businesses grow and other things, but none of that. Like, I don't care how famous the people is that I've had the chance to work with or do business with or be interviewed by or whatever, that they are nothing compared to my son, Roman, giving me a hug. Nothing compared to the words that Christina spoke over me yesterday. Nothing compared to Erica 2 days ago, my second daughter, helping me pack for first steps to success. And her always challenging me to dress, not my age, which I'm really grateful. My son, Cabe, his hugs, like nothing compares. Recognition from any celebrity or government even, like I have an invitation to go be the speaker for the International Day of Prayer for a president of a nation, and his cabinet and all of his entire government is going to be there, and they're asking me to come. That is nice, and what a sweet invitation, but nothing compares to my husband looking me in the eyes and saying, I love you, beautiful, or telling me I'm cute, or other things. Nothing compares to hearing his voice or him even saying thank you for dinner. Like, none of that does. No recognition from outside sources are more powerful than the love of your children and the love of your spouse. Like, nothing, absolutely nothing. Okay, so, okay, I'm grateful for a hug from my sons. Rhonda Smith says that, oh boy, right? There's nothing like that. Yeah, Micah, my son Micah. You got to meet Micah one day. I think you would enjoy it. All right, so I think we're going to turn this off for now. I want to read some of your comments, so I'm going to stop the video. We've been on here for 50 minutes. I can't believe it. And I got some other phone calls that I need to make. Anyway, I hope you benefited from the video. I hope that it blessed you. I hope that these 7 points that I shared about how to go from unqualified to qualified has benefited you. And I hope that I get to see you this weekend in San Antonio, Texas for First Steps to Success. 3 days and 2 nights of a lot of amazingness training, and you're going to get those solutions. You're going to learn how to pay off all of your debt. You're going to learn how to make more money. You're going to learn how to grow your career. You're going to learn how to find a career. You're going to learn how to even find a mate. You're going to learn how to grow with the current mate that you have. You're going to learn how to solve problems with the kids. Your life all the way around is going to be dramatically different because of you making choices and you learning new skills and implementing those skills. So hope to see you this weekend. San Antonio, Texas, DaniJohnson.com. Click on events. Hope to see you there. Other than that, God bless. Have a good one. Bye.